Hi everybody, welcome to WASD, the show that talks to you about video games, surprisingly enough.
We all like tech. Why not get a .tech domain? If you go over to get.tech right now and use code TechSyndicate1, you can get 1 year for only $3.99. And if you use code TechSyndicate10, you can get 10 years for $49.99. They've sold 200,000 so far, so run over and grab your .tech domain right now.
Today we are talking about which retro games are still worth playing, and I believe we made that it was 2006 or earlier.
Yeah, 10 years. It has to be 10 years old defines retro games as per our strange reasons.
We did a lot of research.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
So everyone on the forum chimed in, and we got some pretty good responses there. It seemed like KOTOR was mentioned more than anything else. Knights of the Old Republic.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, which is Mass Effect's like cool older brother.
And probably cooler than Mass Effect, arguably. It's It's
Yeah.
actually a game rather than a movie that you play.
Yeah.
Also it has one of the best received NPCs of all times. The HK-47 guy, the guy that calls everyone meatbags, like one of the all-time
I like that they actually
favorite
brought,
NPCs.
They brought him back in the MMO.
Yeah, right?
Which was actually kind of cool. Even though the MMO sucks.
And the story is much better than the, I guess, the sequels. Warcraft was mentioned quite a bit. Part 2 and 3.
Yep.
Yeah, because those are old games and they're real-time strategy, not as good as Red Alert. Those are mentioned a lot. And then what else was mentioned? Doom.
Doom, obviously. Doom and Quake got some pretty regular mentions, obviously.
And one of the things that Half-Life was big. Now, there's been a point of frustration this year. It seems like a lot of the younger generations are not playing Half-Life and Half-Life 2, and those games are better than almost any modern FPS that I can think of off the top of my head. And so, guys, if you haven't played Half-Life Part 1, you can go get Black Mesa, which is the original game redone in the Source engine. It's pretty true to the original all the way through. Half-Life 2 is just, you just need to play it.
Really establish the hitting things with crowbars genre.
Yeah. All right. So that's from the forum. Are you guys ready to start off with our games? We picked 3 games that we think you should play that are old, but they still hold up today.
So my first game that I chose is Psychonauts, which is an amazing game full of really great humor and really cool settings. You're at a psychic camp and you're eventually unraveling this whole mystery on why psychic kids are getting kidnapped and stuff like that, plus with all kinds of goofy levels and things like that, with a lot of really cool Easter eggs and things all around it.
It's made by the guys from Double Fine, which are some of the outlandish creators of games that are out there. One of the things I really like about this game is that each level takes place in someone else's brain.
Yep.
So you're traveling through one of them, someone's stuck in the 70s with disco everywhere. The next one, the coach, his stuff is very military. Each level is completely different. You're in someone's brain.
You're like, what's wrong with this guy as you're going through it?
Yeah, it's one of the best platformers out there, period.
My first choice is MDK. And it came out in 1997. It's the most weird third-person shooter I've ever played in my life. You're actually a janitor who is trying to stop an alien invasion from a mining company or a mining colony or something. The level design, everything about the game is just so what is going on? It's over the top ridiculous. Somebody had to be on drugs to make that game. They had to.
You need to be on drugs to play it, though.
No, it is a drug. It's that good. So.
Does it help to be on drugs to play the game?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
MDK
it's crazy.
Is drugs.
Yeah, it is.
Looks like we're all starting off with a third-person game. My first game is Beyond Good and Evil, and one of the most underrated games of all time. Michael Ancel is the dude. Yes, let me just see this. Michael Ancel is the guy behind Rayman. And he made this one, and part 2 has been delayed 700,000 times. If you like Zelda, and you like weirdness, and you like outer space, and you like really good dialogue and banter, this is it. Right here in my hands. Tons of side quests, tons of interesting things to do, wild, ridiculous characters, and it's extremely weird, but also just sort of has that enchanting feel that you get when you watch a Miyazaki film or something. You get that a few times in here. So, hell of a good game.
So my next choice is Star Wars Battlefront 2. Star Wars Battlefront 1 was good, but Battlefront 2 just took all that goodness and made it even better. Some of the level designs on it are really, really fun, and they're great for multiplayer games or single player games. What I really liked about it, aside from like the Galactic Conquest mode, which was always my favorite mode to play, was all the like unlockables you could get to build up your character for performing certain actions. Like if I kill 8 guys without dying, then I get the, you know, elite rifle and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I always liked that because it gave you a lot to like keep on working towards to unlock with, you know, back before the just pay to get this kind of game days.
And people are still playing it today.
Yeah.
Like the servers are still open. It's crazy. My next choice is Medal of Honor Allied Assault. This game blew me away, especially the very first mission. The sound design, the graphics, like just everything about the game was just incredible. Like it actually made me tense. One funny thing that I actually found out today is Steven Spielberg was a writer for the game, which he also did Saving Private Ryan, which is crazy. So it's like,
They really pulled a lot from history for that game.
If you want to play Saving Private Ryan the game, Medal of Honor Allied Assault.
I played the shit out of the multiplayer in that game, like hundreds of hours worth.
Yeah, it was so good.
Awesome. I will say another thing about that game is it sort of started the genre that Call of Duty now is all by itself, and that's the genre of very scripted cinematic sequences that are high tension but very linear. And it started that, and it did it really well. And I don't know if any of the Call of Duty games have done it as well. They've become too they've almost become parodies of themselves, or parodies of the genre.
The old 1 and 2 were great.
All right, I'm going to switch it up here a little bit and come in with Full Throttle. Now, Full Throttle was a click adventure game from LucasArts, the same guys who made Monkey Island and Day of the Tentacle and Maniac Mansion and Loom and Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis and all those games. And this one stood out to me because you're playing this really ridiculously tough biker with a sweet spot and some of the best one-liners ever in a video game. I mean, one-liners like, not without my box of bunnies, and stuff like that. And then when you click on somebody with you've got like all the different icons, you can, if you click on the lips and then put it on something like that is weird, like some, ugly guy or some radiator or something, he just is like, not putting my lips on that. So all of his one-liners make the game completely playable, but it's also really funny, really well voice acted, pretty interesting plot, and of course there's always some ridiculousness in these games. So I highly recommend that one. Out of all of them, the other one you want to look at is Curse of Monkey Island. I snuck another one in, but that's it for me. Yeah.
I mean, they really handle that whole like silly but really good content genre really well.
Yeah, the Scum, all the Scum games. If you guys are playing them now, you'll probably be playing some of these with the Scum emulator on your computer, or unless you grab them on like a prepackaged version, a lot of them will be running on the Scum emulator. But all those Scum games were awesome.
My third choice was going to be Diablo 2, but everybody knows Diablo 2. It's still got people playing it today.
Still worth playing.
So instead of Diablo 2, which is great, I chose Black and White. I guess this would be the Overlord God genre, you might say.
Right.
I really like this because you get to be a god, and it's not just like a linear, Rails adventure of like, now help this civilization, now help this one. If you want to be a vengeful god that just, ruins...
Just fucking Old Testament all the way.
Yeah, if you want to throw lightning bolts at things and, all that stuff, go ahead. You get to choose, your, spirit totem animal that, everyone pays homage to. But I think, my favorite part about this game, and this is what I lost more time doing than anything else, is just picking up the followers and chucking them distances and just watching them go...
Timeless activities.
Right?
Yeah, the game will never get old. It is completely timeless.
If you like throwing people, this is the game to do.
My last one is Riddick, Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. This game is my favorite game of all time.
Really?
And yes, it is my favorite game of all time. The story's great. The voice acting's great. Not a lot of people know about it.
Better than Half-Life, huh?
Not better than Half-Life. You can't really
just
compare.
Just more specifically tailored to what you like in a game.
Yeah, just more this is just my opinion.
I would put it up there. I mean, it's
storyline, everything, gameplay, the brutal deaths. Like I said, the voice acting. Vin Diesel does the motion capture and everything. And back then I was like, it was on original Xbox, and it was also on PC. And I was just like, looks just like him. And this is original. I was like, what's happening? It was just so good.
I mean, I did replay it recently, the remastered version.
Yeah.
And it has aged a little bit, but it still looks pretty damn good.
It does. And if you actually they came out with the second one, and if you buy the second one, you got the first one remastered for free. And it was just it also amazed me because you look at video games coming from movies, or movies going to video games and stuff like that, and they're just terrible. 95% of them are terrible, but this one, They wrote a whole different script. It wasn't from the movie, and it was great.
I guess you could really tell that Vin Diesel's into that stuff. I mean, he's a big D&D player. He's a true nerd, and he likes video games. So, yeah, you could see that his vision was in a part of this.
Oh, and the other good thing is the main villain is pretty much looks just like Donald Trump.
That's helpful.
And that's a good reason to replay it right now.
Yeah.
Can you kill someone with a coffee cup like he did in that one in like Riddick 2 or something?
No,
like
but you
that?
can kill
Damn.
people with like everything you could imagine, like shanks and all that.
Oh, cool.
And it's pretty brutal.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Last mention. Now, there's a new genre. Deus Ex and all those games over there. I can mention those. But so yeah, these are two honorable mentions. Morrowind, you can't really. I don't think it holds up against the test of time as much because the combat is awful. The combat is tabletop combat in a first-person view. Skyrim did it right. Morrowind did not. So, but otherwise, the game has an amazing story. Deus Ex is my favorite game of all time, but you guys have heard enough about that shit. So let's talk about Thief and Thief 2. Those games were amazing, and they started the slow FPS genre, the thinking,
It's stealthy.
the stealthy,
Yeah.
you know, like sneaking up behind somebody with a blackjack and knocking them out. And also the AI in those games is stupid, but that sort of makes it even more fun. Everyone's like going for this realistic AI. There's something about the tension when you hear these guys walking around and they're like, "Where is that Taffer?" Which is a word they made up for the game because they didn't want to curse too much, I guess. I don't know.
Taffer.
Where's that Taffer? And then, like, you could run out and be like, "I'm right here," and then you go run and hide in the shadows and be like, "Hey, what was that?"
They're like Metal Gear, like, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you hide in the shadows for like 2 or 3 minutes. You came out right in front of them. 2 or 3 minutes in the shadows, like, must be rats. And then they wander off, and it's like, well,
Then they go back on their pre-existing
Right, they're
track around the
Bunch
map.
of
Right.
rats in the shape of like all conglomerated to be a giant man-sized.
Could happen.
these rats in the city.
I mean, it was neat because like at the time though, like every other FPS game out there was just all about like running in with a BFG and
Yeah,
blowing
yeah.
everything up
Right.
instead of thinking about it for 2 seconds.
So that this game is worth playing for that reason. For the dialogue is really funny, and also the quests and the level design really make it fun. And yes, a lot of the bad guys are on pre-existing tracks, and the AI is not that good, but the entire package of the game, how they put it together, it all just works, and it's a ton of fun, and the tension is high. It's not like one of these games like the new modern Deus Ex where you can press a button and go into the third-person mode and cheat, and that just completely destroys the tension in the game because you're not like, there's something around the corner, and you got a button for lean. It's one of the first games that did like the pushing Q and E to lean around corners, and that really was tense.
Yeah.
Those games really started something. System Shock kind of was in that sort of genre too, but now we've got all these games like Dishonored. But if you want to see the daddy of those games, we've got Dishonored 2 coming out pretty soon. Go back and check out the original Thief 1 and 2.
Next episode is going to be what is the most over-the-top unorthodox weapon available in a video game. So we don't want to hear about like the tomahawks and the knives and like the
Guns.
shotgun you can shoot
Yeah.
across the stage in Halo. None of that stuff. We want like ridiculous cerebral bore stuff. like, from
cat
Turok.
launchers and whatnot.
Yeah.
Hornet's Nest Slinger, if that's a thing. I'm just making up some things because I don't want to say any specifics for games because I want you guys to throw them out there and we'll get to them. All right, guys, go get one of these because they make your beverages delicious. You get a +4 to sexual fortitude if you put it in one of these. That's the pitch for the store. How you like it?
You can answer in the comments, but we'll also post a thing on the forums about it as well, so you can answer there for the video game questions.
Yeah,
And we'll see you next time.
maybe.